North Georgia. The name itself sounds rather pleasant, doesn't it? It conjures up images of rolling hills, misty mornings, and trees. Lots and lots of trees. For a growing number of retirees, this part of the American South is becoming a bit of a magnet. They are packing their bags, selling their larger homes elsewhere, and heading for the mountains. Or at least, the very pretty, rather large hills that Georgians affectionately call mountains. It seems the promise of a quieter life, away from the frantic pace of big city living, is a powerful lure. And who can blame them? After decades of work, the idea of swapping traffic jams for tranquil trails is undeniably appealing. Imagine waking up not to the sound of sirens but to birdsong. That's a key part of the sales pitch, whether intentional or not. The pace of life in these northern counties is noticeably slower. People seem to have more time for a chat at the local store. They might even wave as you drive by, a rather startling experience if you're used to the anonymous rush of a metropolis. This change of tempo is often exactly what retirees are seeking. They've done the hustle. They've done the bustle. Now, they're ready for a bit of a gentle sway, perhaps in a rocking chair on a wide front porch, overlooking a landscape that hasn't changed dramatically in decades. Beyond the peace and quiet, there's a genuine sense of community. In small towns like Dahlonega or Blue Ridge, people tend to know their neighbors. There are local festivals, farmers markets, and community events that bring folks together. It's a throwback to an older way of life, one that many find comforting and enriching. Plus, the great outdoors is literally on the doorstep. Opportunities for hiking, fishing, boating, and simply enjoying nature are abundant. It's a recipe for a more relaxed and often healthier retirement lifestyle. The air feels cleaner up here, probably because it is. And while it feels a world away, North Georgia isn't entirely isolated from the necessities of modern life. Healthcare facilities in regional towns like Gainesville, or even access to specialists in Atlanta, just a drive away, offer peace of mind. So, retirees can enjoy the serenity of a mountain cabin or a lakeside cottage, knowing that medical care is within reasonable reach. It's a rather clever balance, offering the best of both worlds. The tranquility of a rural retreat combined with the practicalities required for a comfortable and secure retirement. It's no wonder so many are answering North Georgia's gentle call. Let's talk about money. Georgia offers significant tax benefits for retirees. Social Security income is tax-exempt. Other retirement income exclusions apply. No estate or inheritance tax, double homestead exemption for seniors. Georgia is a smart choice for retirees. Metro Atlanta. It's big, it's busy, but the allure is fading for many. High costs and traffic are driving people away. Housing prices and daily expenses are soaring. Traffic is legendary, and not in a good way. North Georgia offers a quieter, less crowded life. Towns like Ellijay, Jasper, and Cleveland provide tranquility. North Georgia promises a better quality of life. So, everyone wants a charming little cottage in the mountains, or a nice, manageable house in a friendly North Georgia town. It sounds idyllic, and for many, it is. However, this surge in popularity has created a bit of a pickle in the housing market up north. The increased demand, driven by retirees and folks fleeing the cities, has inevitably pushed up prices. What was once considered an affordable haven is now becoming quite a bit pricier. Finding that dream home, especially if you're on a fixed income or looking for something modest, is not as easy as it used to be. The impact is felt across the board, from homes for sale to places for rent. Starter homes, the kind that young families or those downsizing might look for, are becoming particularly scarce and more expensive. Bidding wars, once a phenomenon largely confined to hot city markets, are now not unheard of in these once sleepy mountain towns. This makes it tough for those who aren't bringing a hefty sum from the sale of a more expensive property in, say, Atlanta or out of state. The dream of an affordable mountain retreat is, for some, becoming just a little bit more elusive. The long-term rental market is facing its own set of challenges. Many property owners in these scenic areas have discovered the lucrative appeal of short-term vacation rentals. Platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo have made it easy to rent out homes to tourists for weekends or week-long stays, often bringing in more income than a traditional long-term lease. While this is great for tourism and for those property owners, it significantly shrinks the pool of available housing for people who want to live and work in these communities year-round. Finding a decent, affordable place to rent for a year or more can be a real struggle. This housing squeeze has ripple effects. It's not just retirees who are affected. Local workers, young people who grew up in these areas, and families looking to lay down roots are finding it increasingly difficult to afford to live in their own communities. The very charm and appeal that draws new residents can inadvertently create pressures that change the character of these towns. It's a delicate balance welcoming newcomers while ensuring that the heart of the community, its long-term residents and workforce, isn't priced out. North Georgia is grappling with this very modern dilemma. Section 5. America's Transit Tangle. A Georgian Perspective. When you look at how Americans get around, it's mostly by car. Public transportation in the United States, outside of a few very large cities, often seems like an afterthought. Funding for buses and trains frequently takes a back seat to spending on roads and highways. It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Not enough people use public transit, so it doesn't get much funding, which means it doesn't improve, so people continue to drive. This national tendency is very much reflected in Georgia, where the car is king, especially once you leave the immediate vicinity of downtown Atlanta. Now let's hop across the pond, or even the Pacific for a moment. Countries like Japan, Germany, and France have a completely different approach. They invest enormous sums of money in their public transit systems. Think of Japan's Shinkansen, the bullet train. It's fast, reliable, and goes almost everywhere. In Germany and France, extensive networks of trains and efficient local trams and buses make it easy to live without a car, even in smaller towns. Ridership is high because the service is good. It's a stark contrast to the often patchy and inconvenient options available in many parts of the U.S. Back in Georgia, the challenges for public transit funding are considerable. While MARTA, Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority, serves parts of Atlanta and some surrounding counties, its reach is limited. Funding for expansion or even for maintaining existing services can be a constant battle. Much of the financial burden falls on local governments and fare revenue, as state-level financial commitment to public transit has historically been quite modest compared to what's allocated for road construction and maintenance. This makes it incredibly difficult to build out comprehensive transit networks that could serve a wider population. The consequences of this underfunding are clear. For growing areas in North Georgia, establishing any kind of meaningful public transit is a monumental task. Without significant state or federal investment, smaller towns and counties simply don't have the resources to create bus lines or other services that could provide an alternative to driving. This means that even as these areas attract more residents, including retirees who might prefer not to drive, the reliance on personal vehicles only deepens. It's a missed opportunity to build more sustainable and accessible communities for everyone. Section 6. Georgia's love affair with the automobile. A bumpy ride. Georgia, like much of America, has a deeply ingrained car culture. The idea of freedom is often equated with having your own set of wheels and an open road, though the open part is increasingly debatable. Outside of Atlanta's core and even within many of its sprawling suburbs, getting around without a car is not just inconvenient, it's often practically impossible. Sidewalks can be sporadic or non-existent, and bus routes, where they exist, may be infrequent and not go where you need them to. This dependency on personal vehicles is a defining feature of life for most Georgians. The limited public transportation options are a major reason for this. If your choice is between a 2-hour bus journey with multiple transfers, if such a route even exists, or a 30-minute drive in your own car, most people will, understandably, choose the car. This isn't necessarily a reflection of people disliking public transit. It's often a practical decision based on the available infrastructure. This reliance becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. Because everyone drives, the demand for better public transit seems less urgent to policymakers, leading to continued underinvestment and thus, continued reliance on cars. This love affair with the automobile, however, comes with significant consequences. One of the most obvious is increased fuel consumption. More cars on the road mean more gasoline and diesel being burned, which hits individuals in the wallet and has broader environmental implications. The cost of owning and operating a car, insurance, maintenance, fuel, and the vehicle itself represents a substantial portion of household budgets. For retirees on fixed incomes or for lower-income families, these transportation costs can be a heavy burden, especially when there are no cheaper alternatives. And then there's the traffic. It's not just an Atlanta problem anymore. As smaller towns in North Georgia and other parts of the state grow, their roads are struggling to cope with the increased volume of vehicles. What were once quiet country roads are becoming congested thoroughfares. This leads to longer travel times, increased driver frustration, and a decline in the very quality of life that many people move to these areas to find. The environmental impact, too, from increased emissions and the demand for more land for roads and parking, is a growing concern for a state known for its natural beauty. Section 7. A Ray of Hope on Rails, the Atlanta to Savannah High-Speed Dream. Amidst traffic woes, Georgia considers a high-speed rail from Atlanta to Savannah. The Georgia Department of Transportation is studying this transformative idea. It's been discussed for years. A feasibility study is underway. Could it reduce car dependency? What would it cost? What route would it take? Economic and environmental benefits. A high-speed train could connect Atlanta and Savannah in hours. It could boost business travel and tourism. The potential benefits are enticing. It could boost economic development, a boon for tourism, an alternative to congested highways. It could reduce Georgia's carbon footprint. However, challenges are immense. Costs are astronomical. Funding and land acquisition are major hurdles. The study continues in 2025. No tracks yet, but there's hope for efficient rail travel. A long journey begins with a feasibility study. Section 8. Georgia's Crossroads, Balancing Charm, Growth, and Getting Around. North Georgia is attractive for retirees with generous tax breaks. The mountains, slower pace, and friendly communities are compelling. Places like Blue Ridge, Dahlonega, and Blairsville draw many. They offer a peaceful, scenic retirement vision. Georgia is financially appealing to retirees, but growth strains these charming communities. The housing market feels the pressure. Finding affordable homes is challenging. Growth must be managed carefully. Popularity risks the small-town feel. Georgia's transportation situation is complex. Heavy reliance on cars creates problems. Demand on roads increases with suburban growth. Georgia lags in public transportation. High-speed rail is a hopeful sign. Georgia is at a crossroads. Balancing growth and quality of life is crucial. Addressing housing affordability is essential. Developing sustainable transportation is key. These questions will shape Georgia's future. It's a delicate balancing act.